Good afternoon, Caterina. So nice of you to join us on architecture in the age of AI. So, tell me a little bit about you and your firm.
Well, I have a small firm. We're really a boutique firm, but we started uh, many years ago. Around 2004, we had our first bigger job. I opened the firm with my husband, who was also my partner, Robert Traboscia. And as I say, we are a small firm, but because we have quite a bit of experience, we can operate like a large firm. So we have done all sorts of projects, from new buildings, several in the city, not very big building, but about maybe 8 to 10 stories. We have done a lot of work in the landmark districts, uh, in any form, meaning from restorations to conversions, and new construction in historic districts. Because
Okay.
in New York, you have to go through the Landmark Commission no matter what. So it
Heard.
really makes no
Yeah, I've
makes
heard.
no difference.
Heard it's not that easy.
It's not.
No. Okay. No. So you're doing multi-res, commercial,
And
hospitality.
interiors,
Sorry?
hospitality, not it. Well, we have been working with two very large hotels, actually three, but two took most of kind of our time in hospitality. And what we did was small renovations, not huge, and studies for expansion and FNF&E implementation. But most importantly, they were conversions. We brought them from SRO status, single room occupancy status, which was very complicated and messy, as you can imagine, to have all these kind of older residents floating around the corridors and having to deal with them. And we brought them successfully to certificate of occupancy for hotel status. So
Good
that
for you.
mostly we designed a new hotel, it did not get built, but we do interiors. We have done the interiors of every building we designed, lobbies, recreation, apartments, obviously. Recently, we just completed the renovation of a 5 stories loft building in Tribeca. It was a complete gut renovation, and we did the interiors for a police union, 3 floors, very finished and very refined, actually. And for that project, we also followed the construction and supervised it.
Yeah.
So that helps us in, as I said, our experience is varied, and I think that's
Okay.
maybe our best
Okay.
asset.
So, are you using AI at all these days? In
Yes,
any
we
part?
use it
Yes.
every day, but it's not, I don't think it's something that architects should spend too much time chasing. You can't kind of use your people's time just chasing new programs and new kind of sites and things, and you spend. What we use it is almost you know without knowing it. When we need it, we look for it, and we use it. In a kind of less sort of, so with that we do massing studies. We have a program that helps with doing all the schedules for zoning and massing studies, and that's an AI program, although it's something that you can do without. Okay,
Yes.
so it
Yes, I
may
agree.
help you. Sometimes irregular sites, you probably are better off doing it on kind of with your own resources. Renderings, obviously, we use that, certainly. But then we use it for searches, or, it's almost like something you don't think about. I can say that my father used to be a guy who was an engineer, but he remembered everything that he studied in school. And we used to say it's like the internet. You can just go to. So before the internet, I could go to him. Now I tell my son, well, you can go to the internet. So, AI is a little bit of an expansion of that. Uh, you can ask things, and sometimes it's wrong. Like for a zoning study, sometimes I start from that, like a code I ask, because it gives you the links to
Yeah.
the actual kind of code sections. But it was wrong, but at least I could go to the link. But my question is that really AI, or it's just a souped up Google search? It's not much more than that.
That's a good way of looking at it.
It's what it is. So yes, we do use it. We're not afraid of it, but I'm not sure if it really it probably it takes the place of an intern sometimes for certain tasks. So you need a little bit less of kind of, a kind of an intern level, kind of, that may help a little bit with that. It's not good for interns. they don't,
No,
they don't get
exactly.
in.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. How are they supposed to learn if there's no opportunity? But
exactly. But at that level, it does probably give you a little advantage. What I think is important is that we shouldn't use, or architects should not use AI to say I can do something faster, which is questionable, and I cut my fees. If you can do something faster or easier, the fees should not go down. If anything, should go up because you knew how to do it faster.
yeah.
So that is something very, very important that I think.
So do you remember when AutoCAD came out? There was a big
Yes.
thing that drafting was going to
Oh yeah.
disappear. That's never happened. And while it
No.
has, yeah, I mean, we do have W blocks and things or whatever you're using in Revit for typical samples that
Yeah.
you manipulate.
Yeah.
Okay,
But
I can
you
see
do.
if you could use AI that way, that'd be fine. But this keeps coming up. You're not the first interview and you won't be the last with architects.
Yeah.
I come from the creative side of things.
Right.
I can't see that being taken over by AI personally. I mean, some of the, maybe administrative stuff, maybe project management, scheduling and things that might, but I can't see that I would want to live in a building that AI says should be this big
No.
and go up this. I
I
can't
don't
see it,
think it would
but
happen
I don't think
because
so either.
because
I
I
have
mean,
talked to a couple of contractors who
yeah.
say it's helping them with their safety reports, which
Yeah.
isn't our side of things,
Yeah.
but they say it's automating that. It's automating inventory for them so they know exactly when they need to order whatever or whatever. So I can see that. But I don't know that that detail, I mean, it sounds to me like you're very boutique-like. Is that right? Yeah, okay. So for a boutique type firm, maybe a multi-res firm might be a bit different, but for a boutique firm, it's more about you than it is about your work. And I know that sounds wrong. I mean, you and your work are related, but the information that you get from your client and sort of interpret the client's needs is not something that I think AI is ever going to be able to do. That's a personal interaction kind of thing.
What you
I think
can
so too.
do is use AI as another person to throw questions at. You
Yes.
know,
Yeah.
it's an exercise, and of course, design and architecture is a profession of decision making. So you look at every option, every suggestion, every crazy idea that may come up and decide it doesn't work. So in that sense, you can play with it more for, let's say, and we don't really do it anymore. We don't have the time, but let's say if you do a competition or something like that, that is not, necessarily going to be built um,
Yeah.
for real tomorrow. You
Mm.
can use it in that sense if you have the time
You
to
have the
do
time.
to do
That's
that.
another thing that keeps coming up. How much time do you need to put into it to make it worth your while to actually use it?
As I said, we only use it when we need it, and it is almost inadvertently. When it happens that you know it's worth it. So that's really the extent.
I agree with you.
What I think it may be useful, but I don't know if you can call it AI or it's just a program
Fancy
written
Google, you said. I thought that was good. I like that one.
or a program, right, for building owners. Of course, some sort of program is that AI or is not. Well, that I don't know. But in terms of operations of buildings, how to, reduce kind of uh, electricity and outputs and maybe move solar panels and, things of that sort. So for the life of the building, there are probably
Yeah,
kind of,
there's
usage
use there.
that we didn't even get to really
Yeah, but that's not
implement
creative, though.
fully yet.
That's not a creative function. That's
It's
a
not.
linear kind of
And
use. You know what I
and
mean?
yes, yes,
And there's nothing
absolutely.
about us that's linear. I say this to my son who's an engineer. There's nothing
Yes.
about, what do you not know about your mother? There's nothing linear about me.
No,
Like, give me a break. So
no, that's
I,
not. Architecture is not a linear profession. It's a profession where you go left, right, and maybe you follow a line, like in between, and that's the goal. Can I get to the end? And maneuver in between all the obstacles that are really
so let me
every
give you a
day.
little example of somebody that's thinking a little bit differently than you, very high end, does multi-res. And he's not using AI in his practice the way you would use AutoCAD, for example, but he's using it to write posts for his site so that when other people are looking for an architect, is picking up all the words that they're looking for and sending them to him. And I went, oh, that's an interesting way. I've never heard anybody say that's how they're using it. He goes, I have it write blog posts and everything for me so that I'm not
You
spending
can
my
do
time
that.
doing that. I'm
Yeah,
editing it, of course, like it'll
yeah,
write it, but then I might not like something. But I'm asking it to use key SEO words or phrases that SEO will look for
yeah.
so that when my potential developer is looking for a
Right.
new architect in the area, it's coming to my website because all of those things are in there. And I thought that's a good way to use it.
And yes, and I probably could try that. I did try to ask to AI to for fun to maybe rewrite, descriptions of projects for submissions or something, and say make it shorter, make it whatever, something like that. I always end up rewriting everything, but yeah, to use kind of keywords and yes and no, because I
Yeah.
did
It's
ask
like, it's
like,
life, isn't it? Sometimes
eh,
yes, sometimes no.
but I asked the AI, I don't know, look at our website, check the keywords again, just for fun, not quite seriously. And of course, what it does the obvious because it recognizes patterns. So I found these things of preservation. I'm like, that's really now what we do the most. And preservation, there is less and less of it because we restore everything. So it's now what I'm interested in, okay, you can respond back, and I did, and I said, look, you're wrong. You didn't look at this. You didn't. I talked to Monica, that's my AI person. You didn't look at this, and she corrected it. So you can, you can do that,
Yeah.
or you can write it yourself, or you can take what I write and rewrite it. I mean,
Yeah. So may I ask a question? Are you concentrating in the New York area or on your client's area? Because if you're doing hotels, I'm assuming they're in a few different places.
no, they're really in New York.
You're
The
staying in New
hotels are
York.
in New
Okay.
York, and all our clients are in New York, Brooklyn, some in New
Okay.
Jersey. So
That's not terrible. You live
right,
there, so you can really be in control of the project. That's good.
yes, that
Hmm.
that kind of works. Yes, we worked
Okay.
a little in the Hamptons, but We really never did, big projects there.
So one of the other questions that came up, if you don't mind me asking, is
Sure.
if they were worried about contractual or legal blind spots from accepting AI as the be all and end all. So do you use AI for any of your contract reviews or anything like that?
No,
No, okay.
absolutely not.
So
No.
you're keeping fairly old school and
Well, you know, my partner Robert writes the contracts, and uh, contracts are, unfortunately, the first phase of a project. Once you write the contract, you have to understand the project. And I'm saying unfortunately because that means that you have to put quite a bit of time before you're paid to understand, what the budget could be. Can this really be built, or there is a, code issue or a zoning, usually a zoning issue? Does the client have the money? That's a big problem. They can never
always
succeed.
a problem.
Can be done on time and all these things. So you have to spend quite a bit of time to understand a project before you write a proposal.
Yeah.
The things that I could do, putting reimbursables or some clauses for, arbitrations, or, all those things. We have a rider that basically compacts all of that. It's only 2 pages.
Mhm.
And so that can be attached to the proposal. So our proposals are mostly just, written because they become a description of what we think is the path of the project. And it's important to write it that way because when, unexpected issues come up, you can say, this is what we were planning. And if you just do it on a percentage of the budget, you can do it with AI because it's just the cost, but nobody ever wants to go that way. They all want to have a fixed proposal. So
Fixed number, yeah.
a fixed number. So yeah, we can. Never
Good job.
works.
So one of the other architectural firms in Toronto, because that's where I am,
Yeah.
said how they're using it is to help them create their marketing packages. So
I want to learn about that.
yeah, so they're using it to help them with their marketing packages. He's next on my list actually, so you'll have to
Yeah,
listen when
yeah. No, let
when
me
he's on.
yeah.
But they're actually going to manipulate it so that it can help them not create a master, but to create kind of a template. So no matter who's working on it, if somebody said you're working on section A, the section A is going to look the same between this proposal, that proposal, which is fine. You can do that in Word as well. But what they're doing is they want to integrate their Revit drawings and renderings right into the document. So he said what he's doing is he's using AI to create some of those renderings and site plans, even in their proposals, just by telling it what it wants to do, and it captures the image and uses it. And I said, well, that's kind of interesting. So they're using it in a way I expected them to use it more on the drawing side, and they're using it more on the marketing side, completely separate. So none of the creative stuff they're going anywhere near it with, except for these renderings for proposals. So they tend to do a lot of work for the city of Toronto.
Right.
And so putting a lot of verbs in there and words in there is, every government contract is lots of words. But he finds that when they add the images, it tends to move their proposal further down the road as opposed to just sending the document. So that's how they found that AI is helping them,
But
and they want to integrate that more. I thought that's an
that means
interesting
that
news.
it's interesting, but we would have to do even more work to write the proposal. And one thing that we understood actually is that the more we understand each time that, that we don't get a job. If you give too much to a client, they
Can shop you.
they'll go shop somewhere else.
Yeah, that's what I'm
because
saying.
now
Yeah.
they have the information. So it actually doesn't really help you. And they probably don't want to come back to you because they have to say thank you, and they are afraid to be
Move
charged. And
on.
so
Yeah.
you
It
are
would be very different in your profession than
yeah,
a government contract because they're not
exactly.
allowed to share that information.
Yeah,
So you have a really fine line there. I feel sorry for you, Katerina. You've got a really fine line there between enticing and not showing them everything. So
absolutely.
I feel for you.
Yes,
I feel for you. It's not an easy thing.
it's not, and
No.
it's really weird. You have to understand enough, but you can't offer too much. And sometimes now that everything is on Zoom, this that even to say we'll meet in person is too much. It's like because you're almost imposing your,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
say I'll bring an engineer to check your,
Yeah.
systems or whatever. So you really have to be very kind of
So
careful.
I'm in sales in my other life, and we're talking about the state of the sales team together. There's three of us, and we're trying to tell our manager that getting in an appointment with someone like you, as I'm calling on architects, because I sell wood acoustics. So
Yeah,
um, getting in to see the architect, they don't want to see you because they're busy with their own thing. They've got 10 projects on the go or whatever, and they don't have time to talk to you right now about what you want to talk about. So I said to my boss, you have to understand, because I was on your side of the table for years. I don't need you until I need you. I'm busy. I'm doing four other things or five other things. I don't have time for you right now. You can't take that as an insult because it's not. It's that they're focused on what needs to be dealt with right now. The key thing is to remind them who you are so that when they do need you, your name comes up without being annoying.
yeah,
So it's the same thing with AI. If you created a package that was so good that they loved you and then you took it to somebody else, that wouldn't do any good. So it's about you being there, how you can offer service to them, kind of like AI does when you want it, you use it
yeah,
that way,
yeah,
and then go away when I don't need it.
yeah,
So for me, we're having a discussion about how to integrate it into a company because our company has 165 people, so it's not a little company, and we don't want to. There's going to be kind of a blanket of how the company wants us to use it as on a whole. The problem with that is that each department is going to use it a little bit differently.
yeah,
So your reputation now becomes how are we presenting ourselves actually in person, online, and in with AI? How? So when I'm doing LinkedIn posts, you should follow me on LinkedIn as well. When I'm posting, my boss always says, have AI write it. I said, it doesn't sound like me when AI writes it. Like maybe I'll get the draft from AI, but I'm always putting my own spin on it
yeah,
because I want it to sound like it's coming from me.
yeah.
So
But
I don't want a deep fake of me. I want to be me. So
AI writes, I mean, most of the time, so do you can tell write short or whatever. They write too much. It's too many attributes, adjectives, useless
yeah,
things. And, I can tell when we get cover letter or, uh, you know, we got the questionnaire from a client. I am sure that questionnaire was written by AI because it
probably.
was so redundant. And,
Yeah.
in the end, when you have that feeling, you don't respond. It's just you don't respond. I'm like, oh, forget it. It's just,
Well, now you're having people like when we have people apply to jobs at our company, they're sending in resumes and cover
yeah,
letters that are generated by AI.
yeah,
And I said to our HR person, "How do you know that's a real person?" And they go, "What do you mean?" I said, "Well, I could tell you I'm a brain surgeon. I'm not.
yes,
And are you going to interview that person based on a letter that says they are, they're the Tesla of their industry, their field, and you meet them and you think, boy, what the heck was that? That was so off. So I understand that people are using because they want to get a job. I get that. But there's no authenticity
no.
anywhere.
They can
How are you supposed
steal
to validate with
renderings,
that?
they can steal
Yeah,
drawings.
it's the same thing with everything in architecture. If there's no authentic design elements and you behind it, bringing your personality to it, I don't get it. I don't get what that would be on that side. However, having said that, my son is going to be a software engineer. He's in university now and tells me, Mom, AI is going to get so smart that nobody will need you. They'll just tell AI what it wants and it'll come up with something. I said, well, then you better go into the trades because they can't teach that in AI. You
See,
got to be there with your hands.
I have a son who's 19 who is the opposite.
Are you kidding?
Yeah. He
What does he
says,
want to do?
well, he's a chemical engineer. I mean, he's
Mm,
studying to be a chemical engineer. He's very passionate about it. But he's very down on AI. I mean, he uses it sometimes when he really has a problem that he cannot resolve, and which is the right way to do it. It's like me going to my father and
mm.
ask, solve it for me, and I'll understand why. So he uses it sometimes to check a problem that he just could not do on his own and see if that helps. But he is very down on it. And next week,
I'd say my son liked it. And he's saying that if software engineering goes
right,
the way it's going, they won't even need me. So he's switching to electrical enginering because he
okay,
knows that's always something that's going to be needed.
yes,
And it's all
yes,
math, and he loves math. Like
yeah,
your son would love everything
yes,
about math. So I said, that's great. He goes, but Mom, if everybody keeps uploading everything they know and see onto AI, why would they need you? Why would a developer need you in the long run? I said, because AI is never going to have that human
yes,
centric focus that a person does. And I think it's up to us to figure out how to use it to our best advantage. Other than that, I mean, I'm sure you use AutoCAD or Revit or something, right?
right, yeah,
Okay,
mostly. I
so
mean, I use
when,
CAD to sketch.
okay, so but when you started, like me, you started on a board. My board is behind me. I have my
Yeah,
set squares, my T square, everything.
right.
And I went from that to AutoCAD. And they told me my time would get better, my drawings would get better. They did
No,
get better, but they weren't any slower, they weren't any faster.
no,
It
and
was just
Revit
as long.
is another, like,
Yeah, it's
slow.
like, yeah. So when I say to people, it's a tool, and I said this to an architect and he liked it, so feel free to steal this. It's a pencil for the architect to use. And that's the only way. The pencil by itself isn't of any use to anybody. It's the hand with the pencil that's making the change.
Yeah,
So, I mean, that's just, I'm a little biased though. I mean, we're biased. We have to be honest. You and I are pretty biased about where design begins and AI starts at the gray line there. But anyway,
I'm not
so,
against it. I'm not, we just use it, but it's not, it doesn't, it didn't change anything. And sometimes we started with AI programs, and halfway we said, okay, it's not, you know, it's just not worth it. So
so this other gentleman said that he doesn't care about intellectual property confusion. So if his drawings, and he posts everything on his website, he said, he's in, shoot, Chicago. He's in
mhm.
Chicago. Posts everything. He said anybody can steal anything they want
Me
anytime. And
too.
I went, I would never do that. And he goes, you wouldn't? I said, I would never do that. He goes, why? I said, because a detail that I spent maybe years developing to exactly the way I want this door frame detail or something, you're going to put it out there on the internet and then everybody can use it? He goes, yeah, I think it's a compliment. And I went, okay, that's the
Well,
first time I've heard that.
I post pictures. I don't put the details. I just post photographs. You know,
Mm,
it's
yeah.
not so
Okay,
that,
so you're Italian, so I'm going to say this to you. Would you
yeah.
drive a Romeo, Alfa Romeo, that was a knockoff?
Uh, well, probably not.
Well,
But
that's
I don't
honest.
drive because I come from
Well, okay.
Venice.
Okay, so all right, but if you okay, so a Gucci bag, you're gonna use
No,
a
I
Gucci bag, or
wouldn't
you're gonna
use
do the
it.
knockoff?
Yeah,
Huh?
no, I wouldn't
No.
use
So
it.
that's what I'm saying. So that's why I said to him, I said it's a bit like telling anybody, car person,
Right.
beautiful clothes person, I want you to drive and go to, wherever and buy a knockoff and use that. I don't want that. I would rather save the money and have the right thing personally, but
Don't
maybe
understand how it
society's
posts
changing.
details or things like that because I mean on a website you post pictures, you don't post
Yeah.
drawings.
Yeah, but what I'm finding too, Katerina, is that AI comes up with things that can't actually be built. And then I'm arguing with architects, juniors usually, not
Yeah,
seniors,
yeah,
juniors usually,
yeah,
that are going, but I want a cantilever 8 feet out of this and this length. And I'm going,
yeah.
okay,
You
but
can do it.
how are we
Yeah,
supporting this? Well, I don't care. You figure it out. gravity isn't going to work because you don't have steel in the wall behind. It's a drywall wall. What are you talking about? Well, I don't have the money to put steel in. Well, then you can't suspend what you want to suspend. But it's on my drawing. I don't care if it's on your drawing. I mean, I can't say this, but I kind of go, where's common sense then?
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like AI can draw anything. You can draw anything. Now tell me how you're going to build it.
I mean, you can draw anything, but we have done like visions, renderings of things, and you can tell that there is no space behind it. It's like, it's does it look like a house at first glance, but it's probably just one room, or so it's all. Yes, I think you have to work out
It's
things.
just,
And
I'm
architecture
not
is
sure that it's a
very,
generational thing. Do you think it's a generational thing? I mean, you and I are, I'm probably a little bit older than you, a generational thing that I just don't think that it's
no.
ever going to be what it needs to be to
I
replace
had
any of us.
young people in my office. They are not that excited about,
Okay, that's good.
AI. They use it when they need it. My son only uses it when he
When
needs
he
it.
needs it.
And that is really the whole point. If you start chasing AI tools, I think you can spend all your time, and in the end, you go around the block like this. Now, there are some things that, you can write your own program with. Like if you have to make a pattern for a gate, people used to draw, I don't know, leaves or whatever, little cutouts. And you certainly can use that for that. You can actually ask AI to write the program for it.
Mhm.
And that is useful. That can be useful, for kind of decorative elements, things of that sort, which we don't use, but I mean, it just
Yeah,
it's
I'm just trying
yeah.
to see if there's anything here. One of the gentlemen said that he thinks as a smaller firm, he can compete better with AI. And I went, okay,
When it
how?
helps,
And he,
it helps.
hmm?
As I said, we probably have less use for low-level interns, really starting people. We probably have a little
But
less
I'm going to be
need for
honest with
that.
you. I found you through AI. I
There you
asked
go.
AI to search architects
Yes.
in the New York area
Okay.
that did a certain kind of work, had a
All
certain kind
right.
of volume,
So
had a
maybe
certain number of employees, and it spit out a list. I'm going to be honest with you. So I went, hey, I would have taken me hours to do that. It did it in about 5 minutes. It was
well,
very
okay.
quick. So
That's good to know,
it's good. I'm just letting you know
right?
that that's a
Maybe.
way to kind of find people too if you need to.
I
That's a little
always say
scary
we
when you
have to
think about it.
update the website. It doesn't have the right word, the keyword, the AI searches, and that maybe it does.
Yeah, you just never know. Um,
So,
is there anything that you think is going to change for you in the next 5 years or 10 years?
uh, look, look. We're always looking.
Yes.
So we're always looking for uh, learning more, changing how we do things, because every project is different. We have worked on projects with 80 apartments. Of course, we were searching for different things. We are, it's always, there are projects that are just very heavy on images, like renderings. Then you look for those AI tools. So we're always looking, and we'll always keep doing that. So will something change? Probably. Hope so.
Right. Yeah.
That will keep me interested. So yes,
Yes. Things may change. The
yes.
main thing is that I always say is the only thing I know is going to happen. Change is going to happen.
They're gonna
And
have
the thing that is going to make me old is when I don't want to embrace change.
right.
I may
And
not accept all of it, but I'm going to accept that it's coming and I need to adjust.
it will. I
Mhm.
I had an aunt who was a graphic designer and architectural designer, very known people. And I mean, the office, this was maybe, I used to come here as kind of a student. It was the end of the 80s. beginning of the 90s, they had huge office with two big drafting tables for each people. They occupy 10,000 square feet. I don't think they had 20 people. Things have changed. Now we work on a computer and, everything's changed.
Yeah.
But it's changed for the better in a way, because we're all in one room, we all work together, we all have interactions instead of all these kind of cubicles where everybody works alone. So that changed the whole attitude of the studio. So things will always change.
I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think that's a bad thing. No, I think part of what makes architecture strong is the interaction with other people. Whether online like this,
Yes.
although I prefer face to face, online like this works.
Yeah.
We've gotten used to it after COVID.
Yes.
But that face to face, like when I'm talking to an architect and they're talking about something, I have my sketch pad and I'm sketching away like crazy. And I could never do that on AutoCAD that fast. I still am faster with a pencil. And then I will show them and say, is this what we were talking about? And I'll go, well, refine the detail. And then a piece of tracing paper goes over the top and I sketch it over again. Is that what you mean? Yeah, that's what I mean. And I
work with you.
yeah, because I'm constantly thinking how I would like, so for me, like with you, I'm sure Italian is your first language. You probably think in Italian and in English second. So for me, I'm thinking pencil first. Yeah, pencil first, and then how is this going to work in the space or whatever. So, I mean, it's all about accommodating how that person works. If AI helps you with that, yay. If it doesn't help you with that, sit over there. When I need you, I'll call you.
Yes.
Right? So, is there anything you'd like to point out about anything that we've talked about that I may have missed?
No, this was an interesting conversation, and I think it was
I try.
positive. And
Yeah, I try. I try because there's all kinds of things that have come
right.
up with different architects and project
to learn
managers.
more about how to use it for marketing, and
Yeah,
that if you have the link to this person's kind of conversation, I will look at it, because I do kind of postings and marketing, whatever,
yeah,
for apps, and
yeah.
I don't have a lot of time, so anyhow, it would be great.
Still, you know,
So
it's
I'm eager
like
to
I
learn
said,
from that person.
that fluidity between information, like when I sketch and you're looking for clients, you want that fluidity. And there's a
Yes.
blend somewhere
Yes.
between the two of
Yes.
automated and, well,
Right.
hand drawn in my case, or interaction, I think.
Yes.
So, I mean, if you don't agree, feel free to say I don't agree with you, Melanie.
See, anyway, you use
but I
the
think
pen.
that AI
I use
somewhere.
still, and everybody looks at me funny in the studio because they don't want to transfer it into write. But I still use it for sketching because I'm somehow used. That's how I learned.
Yeah,
Was
exactly.
a cat. So
yeah.
The,
and you notice I talk with my hands a lot. Have you noticed that?
Yeah. Okay.
I tend to talk a lot with my hands. I live in a very Italian neighborhood of Toronto, so I'm used to talking with my hands all the time. Anyway, and the food is fabulous everywhere around me. It's fantastic.
My
everywhere.
next trip will be there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'll send you a note.
Okay. So is there anything that you want to wrap up with? Anything you'd like to say?
As I said, I think it was fun, and it was interesting, and it was positive. It's not doom and gloom, we'll take our work or whatever, our jobs.
No.
So,
can't be about gloom and doom.
No.
I can listen to the news and get that. Why do I want to listen to that anywhere else?
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah. To check what happened in the 40 minutes we talked. Probably something happened. Probably not good.
Something for sure.
Yes.
Anyway, it was very nice talking to you, Caterina.
Nice. Yes.
And I'm going to end now, and then we will talk again.
Thank you very much.